Buckingham Palace announced with deep sorrow the death of Catherine, Duchess of Kent, which occurred on the night of the 4th of September 2025 at Kensington Palace, surrounded by her family. She was 92 years old and the oldest member of the British royal family. In its official statement, the royal household highlighted her lifelong dedication to numerous charitable organizations, her passion for music, and her closeness to young people. King Charles III, Queen Camilla, and the rest of the family expressed their condolences to the Duke of Kent, his children and grandchildren, joining in mourning the loss of Catherine. The funeral arrangements for Catherine, Duchess of Kent, have already been officially confirmed. The funeral will take place on Tuesday, the 16th of September 2025, at Westminster Cathedral in London, the principal Catholic church in the country, at 2 p.m., with the King, the Queen, and senior members of the royal family expected to attend. Prior to the funeral, the Duchess's coffin will rest in the private chapel of Kensington Palace and will then be taken by hearse to the cathedral, where Vespers and a Requiem Mass will be held on the eve of the main service. Afterwards, Catherine will be laid to rest in the royal burial ground at Frogmore, Windsor. This will be the first Catholic funeral of a member of the British monarchy in modern history, an event of great symbolism reflecting the faith she embraced in life. The palace has declared an official period of mourning until the day of the funeral, during which members of the royal household will wear mourning dress and flags will fly at half-mast on royal residences. But who was Catherine? In this video, we shall learn a little about her life. Before we continue, we invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you do not miss our historical content. Without further ado, let us begin. Catherine was born Catherine Lucy Mary Worsley on the 22nd of February 1933 in Yorkshire, England, into a British aristocratic family. The only daughter of Colonel Sir William Worsley, a baronet and Lord Lieutenant of the county, and Lady Joyce Morgan Brunner, she grew up on the family estate of Hovingham Hall. From an early age, she showed a marked inclination for music, learning to play the piano, the organ, and the violin. As a young woman, she aspired to train professionally at the Royal Academy of Music, but was not admitted, and so worked for a time in nurseries before marrying. In 1956, during military exercises in the region, she met Prince Edward, Duke of Kent, first cousin of Queen Elizabeth II. Despite certain initial reservations from the royal family, the couple ultimately obtained approval to marry. Their wedding was celebrated with royal pomp on the 8th of June 1961 at York Minster, attended by Queen Elizabeth II, the Queen Mother, and numerous members of the European royalty. From that moment on, Catherine assumed the style of Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Kent. Catherine and Prince Edward established their home at Kensington Palace in London and had 3 children, George, Helen, and Nicholas. The Duchess became fully integrated into the House of Windsor, participating in official duties and state ceremonies as a member of the family. She was a regular presence at public events from the 1960s onwards, whether at inaugurations, banquets, or appearances on the balcony of Buckingham Palace during official occasions. Catherine stood out for her modest and approachable style within royalty, soon earning a reputation for unusual closeness. For much of the 20th century, the Duchess of Kent was best known for 2 areas she was passionate about: sport, especially tennis, and music. Her husband, the Duke of Kent, served as president of the All England Club at Wimbledon for more than 30 years, which made the Duchess a permanent guest of honor at the tournament. Far from appearing distant, Catherine built a spontaneous and warm rapport with both players and the public. She could be seen brimming with emotion among the spectators, as in 1977 when she celebrated the victory of Britain's Virginia Wade. Even more memorable was the 1993 Wimbledon women's final. Seeing Jana Novotná distraught after losing the title to Steffi Graf, the Duchess stepped onto the court, embraced her, and whispered words of encouragement. 5 years later, Novotná would win Wimbledon, closing a cycle of sporting resilience, many associated with that gesture of royal empathy. The compassion she showed in consoling Novotná is one of the most memorable moments in the championships. Wimbledon highlighted in its posthumous tribute. Yet Katharine also stood firm in her convictions. In 1999, she confronted Wimbledon authorities for refusing entry to a special invited child into the royal box, an incident that deeply displeased her. This episode underlined her character, little inclined towards rigid social norms when these clashed with humanity. At the same time, music was the great thread running through the life of the Duchess of Kent. "I love music. Any melody that makes me dance, I'm happy," she once declared in an interview, reflecting a taste that spanned from classical to popular. Having trained in several instruments herself, Katharine took on patronages of musical and educational organizations, showing particular interest in children's and youth choirs. She was for many years patron of the school's choral association, supporting the training of young choristers and even delivering readings at the annual Christmas carol service in Westminster Cathedral. By the mid-1990s, Katharine chose to step back in part from the formal royal agenda in order to devote herself to teaching music, something unprecedented for someone of her rank. In 1996, she began working with the modest Wansbeck Primary School in Hull, Northern England, after a visit, offering weekly music lessons. For 13 years, the Duchess attended that state school discreetly, working incognito as Mrs. Kent, and concealing her identity from almost everyone in order to be treated as an ordinary teacher. Only the headmaster knew her true status, and he himself recounted, "The children adored her. She never lost her temper and always saw the positive side." Katharine gave piano lessons, led the school choir, and passed on her love of music to pupils who had no idea their teacher was a member of the royal family. She likewise taught music at a school in Hammersmith, London, attended by children from vulnerable backgrounds, and dedicated time to advising community choirs. This vocation for teaching, unusual within the royal household, demonstrated her genuine commitment to bringing art closer to young people. In 2004, she took this mission further by founding the charity Future Talent, aimed at supporting young musicians from disadvantaged backgrounds with scholarships and opportunities in classical music. She also volunteered with the Samaritan's Helpline and traveled as a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador, reflecting a social sensitivity shaped in part by her own difficult experiences. One of the most singular chapters in Katharine's life was her religious conversion. In January 1994, the Duchess of Kent made the personal decision to embrace the Roman Catholic faith, becoming the first member of the British royal family to do so since the 17th century. In a country where the monarchy is historically head of the Anglican Church, this step carried enormous symbolic weight. Nevertheless, Katharine handled the matter with the utmost discretion and institutional respect. Before proceeding with her conversion, she consulted Queen Elizabeth II, who gave her approval, understanding it to be a matter of personal conscience. The Duchess received religious instruction for several months from a Catholic priest at Westminster Cathedral and emphasized that her decision was not born of any disagreement with the Church of England, but of her own spiritual search. In a private ceremony, Cardinal Basil Hume, then Archbishop, formally received her into the Catholic Church in December 1994. "I have always loved having guidelines, and the Catholic Church offers them to you," Katharine explained of what drew her to the Roman faith, highlighting that it gave her a clear structure through which to live her devotion. Her deep religiosity had already been evident in previous years. The Duchess was a regular at masses and events at Westminster Cathedral and supported charitable pilgrimages for sick children. Legally, her change of confession did not alter her status within the royal family. Unlike cases where an heir to the throne would lose succession rights for marrying a Catholic, under the old succession laws in force until 2013, Katharine's individual conversion had no impact because she was already married to the Duke of Kent, and, in fact, enjoyed full family acceptance. Her husband Edward remained in the line of succession without renunciation, and her youngest son, Lord Nicholas Windsor, even chose to follow in his mother's footsteps, by converting to Catholicism years later. The Church of England, through the Archbishops of Canterbury and York, described the Duchess's conversion as the decision of a devout Christian on a spiritual journey, emphasizing the will to maintain ecumenical respect between both confessions. Thus, Catherine of Kent lived her Catholic faith openly within the royal family, attending Mass at the Catholic cathedral while accompanying her relatives to Anglican ceremonies when required. Her choice, unprecedented in modern times, was regarded by many with admiration and as a sign of new currents of religious tolerance within the monarchy. That her funeral is to be celebrated in a Catholic cathedral with the presence of the reigning monarch underlines the historic and fully accepted nature of the decision she made in 1994. From the late 1990s onwards, Catherine gradually withdrew from official life, also burdened by certain persistent health problems. In 1996, she announced that she would step back from most of her royal duties, preferring instead a more private life focused on teaching music. In 2002, she even asked the BBC and the royal household to cease referring to her by the title of Her Royal Highness, wishing to be mentioned simply as the Duchess Katharine Kent. Renouncing the formal style of Her Royal Highness, although she legally retained the title, was an unusual gesture that reflected her humble character. "I have never liked barriers. I feel uncomfortable being treated in a distant or overly formal way," she once confessed, explaining her decision to shed certain courtesies. From then on, Catherine lived with a very low profile. She drastically reduced her public appearances. She did not attend, for instance, the state funeral of Elizabeth II in 2022 or the coronation of Charles III in 2023, and concentrated on her music teaching and local charitable work. Even so, she made occasional exceptions for important family events, such as the weddings of Prince William in 2011 and Prince Harry in 2018, at which she appeared alongside the rest of the royal family. In terms of her health, Catherine faced a number of challenges throughout her life. The tragedies of losing 2 babies in the 1970s triggered a period of severe depression, during which she was hospitalized for 7 weeks with a diagnosis of nervous exhaustion. She herself spoke openly about the matter years later, breaking the taboo on mental health among members of the royal family. "It had a devastating effect on me. I had no idea how terrible something like that could be for any woman. It gave me a deep empathy towards others going through the same," she revealed about the death of her baby in 1977. Having overcome that difficult episode, the Duchess continued to suffer from chronic ailments. In the 1990s, she was diagnosed with the Epstein-Barr virus, which causes mononucleosis, leading to a chronic fatigue syndrome that diminished her energy. In addition, she suffered from celiac disease, an autoimmune intolerance to gluten that forced her to follow a strict diet for life. These conditions contributed to Catherine becoming increasingly reserved and unable to endure long days of official events, reinforcing her determination to live away from the public eye in her later years. In the final stage of her life, the Duchess of Kent resided peacefully between the royal apartment at Kensington Palace and her country home in Oxfordshire. Her appearances were few and generally private. Though physically frail, she retained her lucidity and a keen interest in the news of the art world and musical education. Visitors described her as a kind elderly lady with a vivid memory and a sense of humor. Catherine remained attentive to the progress of the scholarship pupils, supported by her foundation Future Talent, and continued to play the piano in private until very late in life. The Duchess died peacefully, surrounded by her family at Kensington Palace on the 4th of September 2025, at the age of 92. Her death was announced by Buckingham Palace the following day. Catherine, Duchess of Kent, leaves a singular legacy within the contemporary British monarchy. Her life was marked by a constant search for humanity and simplicity in the role she was destined to play. Eschewing ostentation and shunning the spotlight, she was regarded as one of the most modest and popular members of the royal family, appreciated both by the public and by her own relatives. Her natural empathy and her rejection of excessive protocol made her an endearing and atypical figure within the House of Windsor. Her passion for music and teaching helped bring the monarchy closer to ordinary people, showing that a noble title does not preclude service in a classroom. Likewise, her religious fervor, lived with honesty, offered an example of tolerance and diversity of faith at the heart of the royal family. With her passing, the British monarchy bids farewell to what was for many years its affectionate doyenne, a duchess who shook hands without gloves, who travelled by public transport unnoticed, and who preferred the anonymity of the classroom to the glitter of palace receptions. The Duke of Kent, now widowed at 89, loses his companion of more than 6 decades, and their children George, Helen, and Nicholas bid farewell to a mother who instilled in them the values of humility and service. Thank you for joining us until the end of this video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have anything to add, do not hesitate to share it with us in the comments section. Don't forget to give us a like and share this video with your friends and family so that more people can learn about this story. And if you haven't already, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss our historical content. We'll see you in the next video.